limestone. Limestone. Every blasted day trip, it's limestone. Oh, what's that there? Ooh. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Look at there. It's a gem of the hill country. It's pretty. No, it's incredible. No, it's beautiful. Oh, no, it's Mason.
This episode was made for y'all with the help of our awesome partners. Check the caption for more info. Mason sits in the northern parts of the Texas Hill Country. It's north of Fredericksburg by about 40 miles and only 100 miles west of Austin or north of San Antone. Just enjoy the drive, because it's one of the prettiest in Texas. Mason exudes the rugged, independent spirit of the Lone Star State, with the sort of historic charm that only a century of passing time can provide. The whole town is filled with incredible stone architecture, from its old jail to its 1909 courthouse, making a trip to Mason feel like stepping into a piece of old Texas artwork, which has only helped to inspire more Texas artwork, such as Old Yeller, written in 1956 by Mason's own Fred Gipson, and likely inspired by another Mason native. Old Yeller! Hey! Oh! Wow! I thought you died! Oh, it was a stunt double. Well, that makes you like 400 years old in dog years.
Oh, you are a good dog. Best doggone dog in the West, I would say.
Oh yeah, you wanna come on the road with us? Okay, and we're off. Now, Old Yeller may be the literary heart of town, but in good old Texas fashion, the physical heart of town is still the Mason Town Square. So here we are in the heart of Mason. But before we explore all there is to do in town, let's explore what there is to eat in town. And that's exactly why our first stop is the Willow Creek Cafe. Now, you can find a country cafe on almost every square in Texas, but only the truly lucky ones have a place like Willow Creek. And trust me, this is the kind of creek you want to be stuck up without a paddle. Okay, so this is Angela with Willow Creek Cafe. Hey, thank you so much for having us. So how long have you guys been open?
15 years this month.
Oh, awesome. I can tell this building has history, so what all businesses have been here?
This was a Model T showroom floor in the 20s.
Cool.
Those two double doors are still the original doors.
It used to be Good Greasy Motor Oil, now it's Good Greasy Burgers, right?
There you go.
How would you describe the food you guys have?
Everything we have here is homemade. Our chicken fried steaks are hand breaded, our pies are homemade. Of course, everybody's got to have a piece of pie if they have room.
And when do you not have room for a piece of pie?
I know,
always,
right?
Always. Willow Creek is not just some magical cafe. It actually exists, as shown in these paintings. But more than flowing water, this creek flows with creamy gravy, homemade rolls, hand-battered onion rings, and very well-fed customers.
Oh, it's the lifeblood around the square. It feeds a whole lot of culture to our little old town, and we eat here quite often. We like it.
Oh yeah? How often is quite often?
Oh, 2 or 3 times a week.
Oh, that's pretty often.
Well, they serve enough food here that 2 old ladies can split it. And so that's what we've done.
And 2 young men could split it. Okay, so look who I found. It's local artist Gene Zesh. Well, so what brings you to Willow Creek Cafe today?
Good food, and we visit around. We have some very good restaurants here.
So what is it about Mason that keeps you here?
I was born and raised here, and I don't think there's a better place in the United States to live.
Hard to disagree. If you're looking for small town flavor, this is the place. And speaking of flavors, the smell of those fresh yeast rolls in the kitchen is killing me. Time to chow. The lunch special today was chicken fried steak. I'm kind of powerless to pass that up. I mean, it's hand battered. Just the right amount of peppery bite. And I love the way the crust is on a hand battered chicken fried steak. It sort of just loosely hangs onto the meat, kind of falls off, mixes with the gravy. That is chicken fried steak done right there. Look at that, homemade yeast rolls. I think I might make myself a little chicken fried steak sandwich. Now for some onion rings. When you got hand battered onion rings, that's where I'm going. All right, now time for some cobbler. It came with the lunch special, so of course I'm gonna eat it. But that doesn't mean that I can't also eat some coconut meringue. You got like an inch of custard and then like 4 inches of meringue. The homemade crust, the homemade coconut filling. Oh my goodness. Didn't know I'd be eating 2 desserts for lunch, but you gotta be flexible on a day trip. Yeah, but my flexibility is gonna be severely limited after this pie. Okay, so we're here on Mason Square, which doesn't feel like much has changed in the past 100 years, and that's a good thing. And the best place to learn about Mason's long and colorful past is right here. This is the Mason Square Museum, offering a delightful stroll through the people and places now known as Mason, Texas. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Maybe a little more recent than mammoths. It's amazing how much they can pack into a small museum. But since our show is only so long, we've got to time travel a little bit. Let's start right here with the birth of modern Mason, centered around Fort Mason, one of the U.S. Army's frontier posts. Established in 1851, Fort Mason paved the way for safe settlement in this region by protecting Mason's first settlers from the constant threat of Indian attacks. I think your rank had something to do with how well your beard came in. I think this guy wins, Fitzhugh Lee. He wins the Facial Hair Award for the whole fort. Although Colonel Hazen has grown a very fine, pointy mustache. This museum is a great place to see some of the artifacts and read about the fort. But you know, rather than just read about it, let's go see it. So it's back in the car for a brief historical detour. About a mile from the courthouse to the top of Post Hill, the original site of Fort Mason. So this is the recreated officers' quarters. But back in its heyday, Fort Mason would have covered this entire hill. Stables, blacksmith shop, hospitals, and as many as 25 different houses. And look out, it's not hard to see why they picked this location. You got a huge view of the prairie, meaning you could see threats coming from miles away. It's a view that would come in very handy during the fort's near 20 years of service to both the United States and the Confederate States. Many brave men served from this post, one of the most famous being none other than the great Robert E. Lee. Before he was general of the Confederate Army, before the Battle of Gettysburg, at a time when Lee was a loyal and well-respected colonel of the U.S. Army. It was here in Mason that Lee received a very important offer as the Civil War approached. Now to grossly oversimplify.
Dear Bobby Lee, things aren't looking so good here in Washington. It seems the South no longer likes us and is going to start a war. As such, I need you to report immediately to Washington and take command of the Northern forces. This whole thing just has me sick. I tell you, my bowels are in terrible shape. Too honest? Well, that's me, Honest Abe. Dear old Abe, this notion of a civil war is as preposterous as a beard without a mustache, or a 2-foot-tall hat on a 6-foot-tall man. However, you asked me to bear arms against my native Virginia, and that I cannot do. As such, I must resign from my post with the U.S. Army, and shall see you on the battlefield. Like your outhouse, this war stinks. Just being honest, Bobby Lee.
Lee left Fort Mason never to return, going on to become a commanding general of the Confederate Army. But his tale of personal struggle in our nation's darkest days wasn't uncommon amongst U.S. soldiers here. Wow, look at this. It's a display showing the men from Fort Mason who went on to serve as Civil War generals. The top fought for the Confederacy, and the bottom fought for the Union. The Civil War split not just the country, but it also split the men of Fort Mason. Yet despite these hardships, Fort Mason endured. Now where were we? Oh yes, the Mason Square Museum. Let's pick up where we left off. So after the Civil War, the fort was reoccupied. But one fort couldn't protect everyone, and conflict with the native tribes was just part of life, including Indian kidnappings. Given its location at the edge of the frontier and its thriving settlement, Mason was a hotspot for captures. John Wayne's classic film The Searchers was even based off of real Mason stories. Not to mention Herman Lehman, who lived amongst the Indians for 9 years, even writing a first-hand account of his experience. But beyond the threats posed by the natives, sometimes the biggest threats were from within. The West was truly wild in Mason, and no times were wilder than the 1870s, during the HooDoo War. I know it says Mason County War, but trust me, it's a hoodoo. Meaning mass vigilante, or bad luck, or whodunit. The HooDoo War was a bloody revenge battle breaking out when German farmers became upset with the ruckus cowboys and their cattle-thieving ways. It wasn't long before fights broke out. There were Germans killing cowboys, cowboys killing Germans, who in turn killed more cowboys, who in turn killed more Germans. Even the infamous Johnny Ringo of Tombstone fame got involved. And when the feud finally settled after years of killings, many lay dead in its path.
So here's a map with dots where all the HooDoo murders happened. You can retrace the bloody trail if you're into that sort of thing. Just watch out for the hoodoos.
But life hasn't just been war and bloodshed here in Mason, and the peace and quiet has made room for some incredible artists. Of course, there's Fred Gipson, the writer of Old Yeller, but there's also Mason native and sculptor Gene Zesch. Zesch is known the world over for his folksy and downright hilarious sculptures. The best collections of them are actually on the square in the local banks. Each piece is based off of real local characters, and as you can probably guess, Mason's got a bunch of them. But some of the finest artwork in Mason wasn't formed by human hands, but those of the great creator. Check this out. It's the largest topaz ever found in North America, and it was found right here in Mason County. Coming in at over 6,000 carats and almost 3 pounds in weight, this hunk of precious gemstone was sold to the Smithsonian in 1913 for $75. Nowadays, let's just say it's worth a little bit more. Yeah, I think that'd look real nice on a ring, don't you think? Be heavier than my fist. Yeah, but I don't think this one's for sale, or that I could even begin to afford it if it was. Now, you may not know, but blue topaz is actually the official gem of Texas, and Mason is the only place you can find it in nature. To learn more about this rare Texas treasure, we're headed up the road to Country Collectibles for a chat with local expert Warren Grody.
We now interrupt this programming to remind you to like and subscribe. Now back to the road.
Now, at first glance, this place may look like any other roadside antique shop. Knickknacks filling up every square inch of floor, wall, and even ceiling. But what isn't typical about Country Collectibles is that amongst the clutter, you'll find the finest broker of Texas Topaz in the Lone Star State.
Okay, so topaz is our state gem, but Mason County is the only place you can find it.
Only county in the whole entire state where you can find topaz in the raw.
That's amazing. All right, Warren, so show me what you got.
Okay, this is raw topaz here.
All right.
This is a quartz and this is topaz. Pretty close to the same size.
Oh, that's significantly heavier.
Yeah, and it's cooler to the touch.
If I saw these two things in a creek bed, I wouldn't know the difference between them.
Be hard to tell.
But the quartz is worthless, and this is actually worth something.
Yes, sir. These are some that aren't facettable. So we offer these to the public at a nominal fee.
And not facettable, so you mean too fractured inside?
Too fractured, they got inclusions and stuff. Here's some good raw pieces.
Ooh.
And this piece here,
we're talking.
This one here I'll cut a real dark blue here, lighter blue here. So you can see how clear that is, so that'll cut some super stones.
Oh, huge ones. Look at that.
So once you find something that is facettable, you take it to a faceter and get it faceted.
That's a
Here's
beautiful
one of the
stone.
star cut.
When you look down straight from the top, you can see the star. It's obvious. This is all done by hand.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Amazing.
Sir. We sell clear for $100 a carat. The light blue is $125 a carat.
It's also the blue that's the official gem, right?
Yes.
Blue topaz. I mean, that's prettier than diamonds, I would say.
And no blood spilled collecting these topaz. Unless, of course, you know, hit a cactus or something.
So y'all also set these?
Yes.
Necklaces,
yes, sir.
rings.
This is one that we had custom done for us. And then we do the concho, kind of like the Ranger.
This is kind of dangerous looking at these pretty stones. It's enough to make you want to go out on a treasure hunt, you know, like for hours or days trying to find some of this on your own.
High school logo is the M with the horseshoe with the Mason punchers.
Hey.
So we put a local stone in that. You know, we won state a couple years in football. We won state all the time in tennis.
When you win a state championship, you get a big blue topaz ring. Is that how you celebrate
if
here?
they want one, they can come get one, yeah. I think that's a tradition we ought to start.
Okay, Warren, I want to see the biggest one you got.
Okay.
Show me the goods. I want to see it. Bring it out. Woohoo! Yeah, now we're talking.
587 carats. Now, that one was plowed up in the 40s. The guy was plowing his field, and it was the size of a large baking potato. You lose about 70% when you facet them. Our faceter at the time was 71 years old. It took him a year and a half to cut it, because he only cut 30 minutes to an hour each morning while he was fresh, because he didn't want to make a mistake on it. So, yeah,
that's amazing.
The largest faceted Mason County topaz known to exist.
Yeah, I think this one will do.
Yeah, we do have our own security system here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hometown security. So.
Maybe not.
Hey, it is
Maybe
loaded.
not. Well, okay,
It
all right.
is loaded.
That's gorgeous. Would you ever sell that?
No, you'll never find another one. You know, you sell it, you spend the money. I'll keep it. If my kids take the store, I'll pass it to them. If not, we'll put it in the museum in Mother and Daddy's name.
So if someone wants to find a topaz, where can they do that here?
There's 3 ranches, $15 a day. They can go out and hunt. We got their numbers. People come in all the time asking for the information. And they just go out, and it's a good day to, you know, hunt, you dig, and it's hard work, you know, and some people find some people don't.
Oh, man. Well, this is excellent. Thank you so much.
Hey, I
Warren.
appreciate you
This is
coming
really
in.
cool.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna have to try my day tripper luck. Besides, if I strike out, I can always just come back and buy one. But out with the pessimism. I'm ready to dig. So we're headed deep into the Mason countryside, to a place only recently opened for guided public digs, hosted by a true rock star. All right, so this is rock hound Frank Roberts, who's taking us out here to what looks like the middle of nowhere, but we're looking for gems. So tell me about this activity and how to do it.
Well, you got to dig. That's pretty much all you got to do. Nature put them here about 1 billion years ago. That's quite a long time ago. There used to be mountains here, and these gems grew in the granite that you see around you. This is a good place to start right here.
Well, I mean, I'm looking around, and all you have to do is look down, and you see these.
Oh yeah, you got your little fluorite crystal there. It's dirty right now, but you get it home and clean it off, and you'll be surprised what you get.
I give it the old spit shine.
There you go.
Now.
Give it a good lick.
So I see a bunch of little pieces of it around, but if we want to find the big ones, we got to dig, right?
You got to dig. Yeah. That's rule number 1. So you got some good. Oh, there's a nice one. Look at that one.
There you go. That's not bad. Oh yeah.
Look at that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a keeper.
You think?
Oh yeah.
You see through that one?
Yes, sir.
The Llano Uplift is a geological anomaly in this part of the hill country, where the granite pushed up through the limestone shelf and also pushed up tons of gemstone treasures for our rock hounding delight.
What we have here is quartz and fluorite. People collect it, and it can be almost every color in the rainbow.
Oh.
But, they're just fun to dig up.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, you can bring kids out, and they're always going to find something, so it's not frustrating for them.
Exactly.
Okay, I got a bucket of water here. Wash them off so you get some of the dirt.
Polish up. Whoa.
Look at
Whoa.
that.
Oh man, I can see my hand on the other side of that thing.
That is a crystal, my friend. That is beautiful. From a cow pasture in the middle of Texas.
Awesome.
That's what they call Mason emerald. Might have to keep you around.
Yeah,
oh man,
they're beautiful.
Look at that. They look like candy, don't they?
That's a good way to put it.
Who knew digging in a cow pasture could be this much fun? It's like a real-life treasure hunt. There are piles of fluorite to be found out here, some of which are pretty huge, but I'm still without a Texas Topaz to my name. Luckily, Frank has another honey hole just a few feet away. Like literally a hole.
Okay, Chet, we're going to be going into a pit here that was a topaz mine back in the 1960s. This stuff is very, very loose, and there's pockets in it we call vugs. This is where it grew, this is where it came from, and it hasn't had time to go anywhere. All right.
Oh.
See how that is? Yeah,
I see
nice
all
and-
kind of sparkly things down in there.
This is where you're going to find your pay dirt right here. You have to take it, soak that in water, and if there's any gemstones in there, they'll show themselves.
The treasure hunt continues, but I do feel like we're getting closer.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Get in there, get in there,
You've
get
done
it
this
all
before,
out.
haven't you? It's hardened clay holding together all the stuff, including the good stuff.
There's like a little Easter egg though. There could be something really incredible inside of it.
Or a scorpion. You know.
Or that too, yeah.
Huge scorpion. Be careful where you grab.
And now it's time to grab a bucket and see if our pay dirt is gonna pay off.
What we're trying to do is break some of this stuff up in the water. You can see the color in that. It's just every color in the rainbow practically.
Yes.
Let's dump and see what we got.
Whoa!
Up.
Whoa, whoa.
Yes!
Oh, hey! Nice! Look at this!
Woo!
That's a nice big piece of topaz right
Good
there.
God almighty. Look
Yeah.
at that. Woo! It's blue. It's definitely blue.
That's topaz. Look at that.
Boom! Topaz!
Boom!
Mason County Topaz. Talk about your first timer's dumb luck. And it's enough to make me want to come back and do this thousands more times. Well, it seems we are on a very lucky day trip. Let's keep this good juju going all the way back into town for some dinner. But first, a stop at Sandstone Cellars, Mason's excellent little local winery. Here for times of celebration or frustration. depending on whether you found topaz or not. So we're grabbing a bottle to go and walking over to our dinner grub down spot, Santos Taqueria. It's a casual, homemade Mexican restaurant. And while it may be in Texas, don't go calling this Tex-Mex, because what you get at Santos is many Mexican states away. Okay, so this is Gigi with Santos Taqueria. Now, this ain't your typical Tex-Mex joint, so tell me a little bit about the food you guys have.
Well, my mother, Santos, is from Durango. These are all mother's recipes. We actually ate it all while we were at home, and you know, we thought this food is wonderful. We've got to share it with the people and the public. And
Yeah, and it's worked out pretty well, I'd say.
well, for 15 years it has. Yes.
Yeah. So this is basically just like your extended kitchen in your home.
Yes.
We got Santos back there making all the food, and this is your dining room. So we're
Yes.
stepping into y'all's house here.
House. Yes, you are.
A very well-fed house, welcoming one and all.
Okay, so what do you think of Santos?
It's incredible. It's addictive.
Addictive, so you're here a lot.
Yes.
How would you describe this food to someone who's never been?
All our friends, we bring them here, and we try to tell them, but they don't understand until they come and eat. And I think the main thing is that yummy Mexican food without all the grease. It is so fresh, lots of vegetables.
Santos is the place to be in Mason, Texas, and I've never found Mexican food like this anywhere else.
And then, of course, the winery next door. Do you normally get something to drink and bring it over here? Or?
Definitely, you're more than welcome to get a glass of wine or a bottle and come over here and have a drink.
Awesome.
It's one of our favorite places to eat.
And just because of the food or the
The
atmosphere?
food, ambiance, they're family, and they have the most fabulous rice ever.
My favorites, they're shrimp quesadillas with corn. If you ask for corn, they make it from scratch.
See, that is awesome.
It'll take a little bit longer to get the corn, but it's well worth it.
But good food is always worth the wait.
It takes her hours to make a solo dish. I mean, it takes her like 3 hours to refry her beans. And everything is made from scratch. And she is particular about what it tastes like. She's got to taste
And
everything.
we're talking homemade.
Homemade. Even if I try to make it, I probably couldn't make it because it's all a timing. Nobody got time for that.
Yeah, but your customers appreciate
Yes.
it. Thank you, Santos. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Santos, for caring as much about the food you feed me as the food you feed your family. And speaking of my food, let's head to the patio.
All right, now that we got our food, how about we open this bottle of wine? It is a Sandstone Cellars Syrah blend. Sounds pretty delicious. Ooh, that is really good. Upon Gigi's recommendation, I got the gordita plate with one shrimp gordita and another barbacoa gordita. Oh yeah, you know I like barbecue, so why not Mexican barbecue? I got corn instead of flour, and these are made by hand. Split it down the middle and stuff it full of goodies. So good. The only thing I've ever had that tasted like this was served to me out of a food truck, you know, on the street. I've never had it like this in a restaurant. I mean, this is an authentic flavor. And to think it's here at Santos, right off the square in a hill country town. Now that's where it's at right there.
What a day. Mason is truly the gem of the hill country, sparkling with priceless history, gleaming with colorful people, and reflecting its rustic, independent spirit all over Texas. I tell you what, the things you can do in Mason are truly amazing. But before we head out, there is one last thing we need to do.
And that's to catch a flick here at the Odeon, the oldest continually operating theater in West Texas. It even hosted a special premiere of Disney's Old Yeller back in '57. You know, there's just something about watching great movies in historic theaters. So I'll see all y'all out on the road. Bye con Dios, amigos. Centered around Fort Mason, one of the U.S. Army's frontier posts. Frontier posts. Front. But life hadn't been all war and bloodshed in Mason. Wow. But life hadn't. Man, what is happening? All right.
2, 1, go.
But life hadn't been all blood and warshed.
Warshed? Man, all the
take him to the warshed. Get him in.
all the bloopers gonna come from this scene.
I know, this one thing here. All right. In conflict with the native tribes, Tibbs, that was me. And conflict with the native tribes was just a part of life, including Indian.
Is that a word? And conflict with the native tribes. Man, I gotta shake this off. All right. Okay.
Howdy, y'all. Follow along with my adventures at Chet Tripper on Instagram and at The Day Tripper TV on Facebook and YouTube. Or head to thedaytripper.com for travel guides, past episodes, and info on our mobile app and Team Day Tripper.
This episode was made for y'all with the help of our awesome partners. Check the caption for more info. Howdy, y'all. Chet the Day Tripper here. Thanks so much for tripping with us. Remember, while you're here, like this video, subscribe to our channel so that we can stay out there on the road and keep on tripping. Did we miss anything in this town? Leave us a comment, let us know. We love finding out about new stops with all of your tips. And if you love Epic Texas Day Trips, remember to check our channel. We got a lot of them on there. Also, don't forget, if you want some sweet Day Tripper merch or another cool Texas-made product, come see us in Georgetown at the Day Tripper World Headquarters. You can also shop online if you check the link down there in the caption. All right, y'all. Bye con Dios, amigos.